Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. If you don't already have a copy of AnyRPG, you can pick one up from anyrpg.org/downloads in both Unity package and source code format. You can also download A Lost Soul, the free playable game that I work on in these episodes. In this episode, we are going to be adding a ground circle under the character. We'll be doing the graphic design portion of it, and what we'll basically be accomplishing is right now when I highlight an enemy, you can see that the health bar above its head turns white, and when I mouse over it, we can change the color of the enemy, but when I highlight it, there's nothing on the ground underneath it. And what I want is basically for a circle to appear under the enemy's feet that shows us sort of like how big his hitbox is and where he's facing, and then we'll be able to see far more clearly if we're fighting a crowd of enemies exactly which one we've got highlighted. So in this episode, we will be doing the GIMP portion of this, or just the graphic design portion. So let's go ahead and open up GIMP. It's a free program just like Photoshop, and we're going to create a new file, and we want the size to be 4000 px by 4000 px, and we'll hit OK. Actually, we'll open up the advanced options, and we have fill with background color, and I want fill with actually transparency. The rest of this is okay. So we're going to hit OK. Cancel. Actually, you know what? We'll make this 2000 by 2000. Let's just do it that way. That'll be easy. Perfect. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to add some guidelines to the image. So we will go to Image and Guides. We'll go New Guide by percent and add a horizontal guide at 50%. Then we'll go Image and Guides and New Guide by percent, and we will add a vertical guide at 50%. Next, we want to make a circle. This circle is going to be our targeting image. Now I've made this 2000 by 2000, and in order to leave room for an arrow at the top to indicate which direction the enemy is facing in, we will make the circle exactly 1000 by 1000, which means that we can basically make this projector twice as big as what the enemy's hitbox is, and the circle in the center is going to show exactly the enemy's hitbox size. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll make sure that the ellipsis tool has expand from center selected. Then we'll move our cursor to the center of the image till we can see down here 1000 and 1000. We'll pull outwards until this new ellipse is exactly 1000 by 1000 big. If we need to make manual adjustments, we can make them over here. Now that we've got our circle, we are going to just create a new layer, make sure it's filled with transparency here. I always like to keep my transparent background and work with new layers. So now we're going to go to Select and Border, and we're going to give it a border of 20 px, and Smooth is okay. So we'll hit OK, and now we have basically our basic circle outline. So let's take the bucket fill tool here, and we're going to make sure that our color is set to white, and we're going to click there, and now we've got our basically circle outline. So let's go ahead and let's see, I think I can just double click to rename that, and I'm going to call this outline. Now I want to add a new layer to the image, so we'll just click on New Layer, make sure it's got a transparency. We'll go Select, None, and then we'll grab the square tool here, and we'll also choose Expand from Center. We'll position ourselves at the middle here, and we'll hold down the Shift key to make sure it's expanding exactly square. And why don't we pull this thing out until it's about 400 by 400. doesn't really matter. This is more sort of a matter of personal taste here, but I think 400 by 400 should be okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go select, and then I want to set a border on this as well of 20 pixels by 20 pixels. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. I am going to bucket fill white. And now I'm going to go layer, and we want to apply a transform by doing an arbitrary rotation, 45 degrees. And we'll click the rotate, and now we've basically got a circle that can come out of the top. But there is one problem with this. It's not actually at the rotation that we want. We're going to hit this green tool down here to anchor it, and now we've basically got a permanent layer. The size is basically not what we want. I found that if, Control Z, I just moved the guide there. If we grab this layer here and we pull it up, it will make an arrow at the top of the circle, but I wanted my arrow basically to be a little pointier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer just so I have a copy of the original. I'm going to hide the original, and I'm going to go Layer, Scale, Layer. And I'm going to uncheck this little thing here, and I'm going to set the new layer width, the new layer height to 4000. So I want this thing to be twice as long as it is tall. And I'm going to hit scale, and now we've got a nice long arrow. And we can basically pull this thing up until we're sort of happy with where it intersects. And let's just zoom out for a second. I think I'm pretty happy with the overall shape of that. I like basically how far that thing is pointing out now. So now what I want to do is pretty much get rid of this bottom stuff here. So let's make another duplicate of this layer, hide the original one, and now we want to go down to the outline layer here, and we want to grab the magic brush. I'm going to click right here and we'll make a selection. Now we will now go select and invert, and then you can see here that if I grab the eraser tool, and actually I want to go up to the top layer here, there we go. So if I grab the eraser tool, now I can cleanly erase just the stuff on the inside here, and now I've got my basic shape looking pretty good. So what I want to do next is I want to go select none, and I want to go layer new from visible. So now I've got a layer that has all these things combined, and I'm going to take the magic fuzzy select tool here, and basically I want to click on these things to make a selection. No, you know what? I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to click on the outside to make a selection. And then I'm going to take that selection and I'm going to invert it, so I'm selecting everything on the inside. No, you know what? That's not what I'm going to do. Sorry. I actually do want to select all the colors there. So make sure we're on that layer here. There. Okay. And for some reason I'm getting a little bit of artifact here. I'm not sure where that's coming from. So let's just go in and maybe do a better job of erasing over there. Try to run over this again with a brush. Okay, and let's try selecting this again. Okay, that's a little better. All right, so now what I want to do is on a new layer, I'm going to hit OK, and I want to go to the gradient tool basically, and I think I want to go select invert here. Perfect, and now I've got a nice gradient. Okay, so this looks pretty good, except for the fact that our gradient is basically missing right here. So let's actually just fix that up real quick here. Let's go to the outline here. We'll set that layer to visible. We'll go select none, and we'll then grab the selection tool, go select invert, so everything in the inside is what we can erase, and then on this visible layer right here, we will grab the eraser and just drag it around the edge like one more time here. My brush has a hardness of 100, but I'm not sure why it wasn't erasing everything properly. Okay, so then let's try this again. We will go select none and then grab the magic tool. Perfect. Okay, that's better. Now we've got a nice solid outline of this basically. So now we can go back up to this layer up here, and we can basically select invert, go back to the gradient tool, and make our nice gradient. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want this gradient basically to be only on the inside of the image. So let's go select none, and now our gradient is basically applied. And then we want to just take this layer and we want to duplicate it. For some reason it didn't duplicate properly, so let's delete that layer. We'll go back to this one right here and click duplicate again, and now we have a good duplicate of it. Alright, so now what we want to do is we want to take this layer right here and go to our magic paintbrush, select, I want to click on that, select none. Then now that we're actually highlighted on this layer, we want to select our magic paintbrush, and now we get a nice outline out here. I'm going to remove the eye, go back to this layer, enable the eye, and remembering that this whole outside there is the selection, I can just go edit, cut. And now if I go select none, I have a beautiful little transparent circle that can go underneath my enemy's feet with this sort of nice highlight and fade thing here. And now we can export this and we will be able to use it in our game. So I'm going to go File, Export As, and go to my drive where I store this stuff. And under AnyRPG, we'll just go to Images here. and we will call this our ground focus target.png, and just by putting PNG, GIMP will automatically export it. I'm just going to call this final. I did a couple of other versions earlier, and now we can click on export, and everything is okay, I think. So we can just hit export on that, and now we've got a nice image. If I look at my ground target final, it's 247 kilobytes, which is not bad of an image size. So I hope you enjoyed that. In the next episode, we will be taking this ground targeting circle here, and we will be adding it to the game, and we will be making this appear under our enemies' feet when we select them. So thank you for tuning in, and if you like the video, then don't forget to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the AnyRPG YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments, and I'll see you next time.